Hello there, beautiful human. Melinda Joy, Crossroads Storyteller here with a hashtag video response video. Every month on my channel, I provide a new moon cycle tarot reading as well as 7 tapping videos to help us all step further into our most true selves. So if you are interested in tarot or tapping, you're going to want to subscribe to my channel. And today I am responding to the no longer active but still incredibly appreciated Katie Flowers. And the hashtag is no disclaimers. I really enjoyed, I believe she says her name Sorsha. I really enjoyed Sorsha's video response to this hashtag, and so I'm going to include that link below. And this tag is no disclaimers, so I'm going to put my umbrella disclaimer at the beginning and then do my very best to not include any disclaimers. So my initial disclaimer is that this video is not meant to shame anyone. If you're feeling extra sensitive or tender today, if there's some places within you where you're a little sticky and available to take on shame, maybe this is not the day to watch this video. And if that's not the case, and instead you're available for strong opinions and available to share generative, supportive, creative critique, I am so here for it. I absolutely love authentic, honest conversations where both parties can be vulnerable but like stay engaged as their centered core selves and just get to know other ways of being and seeing the world. So yeah, if you have any kind of comment that fits anywhere within that range of generative, creative, supportive, intimate critique, please comment with it. I would just be thrilled. Okay, so yeah, I think I included all of the disclaimers that were important to me. So the first question, my notes are right here, obviously, is what trends or tropes in tarot annoy you the most? Okay, so I'm not sure which one is a trope and which one is a trend. Maybe the trend, yes, okay. So the trend that annoys me the most is digital collage. I think it's overdone. I understand that it is especially accessible way to create images, and I am here for tarot creators getting more creative and more vulnerable in their creations. It doesn't need to look perfect. I would much rather you make it. Okay. And the trope that annoys me the most is when the death card is sort of skipped over the death part and it's just like a resurrection card, or maybe the card is a death card but like the description in the booklet is emphasizing the rebirth. And I have a problem with that because I feel like we live in a death phobic culture, and that skirting around the dying part of death, the ending part of death, is just feeding our collective complex around death. So yeah, that answers that question. Question number 2, what decks do you feel are overrated? Okay, so if you have been around and seen my other video responses, you know I'm not the biggest fan of the Aquarian Tarot. I feel like it is a washed out, exclusively white version of the Morgan Greer Tarot. I got both of the tin versions at the same time, and literally it looks to me like the Aquarian, who is it? David Palladini. When David created the Aquarian Tarot, okay, this is all opinion. I don't actually know the history of this deck, and maybe if I knew the history of this deck, I would be more interested in it, because often if I feel like I have some connection to the creator, then I will be much more forgiving about the parts of the deck I don't like. But all I see in the Aquarian Tarot is a dude copying Morgan Greer and just like picking a less colorful, both racial and like actual colors, like ink, less colorful version. And when I have read with the deck, all I like, it would have been just as useful if all that was on the card was the name of the card. Like the image itself in the Aquarian Tarot does absolutely nothing for me. And I feel like there are other decks that are similarly dull, like the Golden Dawn Tarot and the Jungian Tarot. And I have those decks, and I think why I like those, even though they're similarly dullness, is that one, they're not nearly as popular, right? This is about being overrated. I don't think anyone's overrating them. And two, they feel like they have some, like, it feels like the person who made them was implementing things they had learned and were putting pictures to concepts they were interested in. Whereas the Aquarian Tarot to me just feels like a copycat. Yes, so I don't have the deck to show you today because I was so upset with it being in my collection that I guess we could call it gifting. I gifted it away. What I actually did was it's small, right? It was in a tin. So I put it in my pocket when I went to the dentist last, and I just waited until there was a moment when I was like near a shelf that like clearly wasn't sanitized items, like just like a random shelf, alone, like without someone watching me. And I almost didn't get an opportunity, but at the last moment, someone needed me to go into like a side office to coordinate for another appointment. And it was the perfect opportunity. And they were like looking at their computer, and I just like slipped the tarot deck on their shelf. They said that they were doing spring cleaning, and that was why things were a little bit all over the place. So I figured it was the perfect time to just throw in another item. They were gonna continue cleaning, discover it. Hopefully someone in the office enjoys it and gets something out of it. That's my hope. But yeah, I was just so ready to get rid of it. And some little voice was like, you could take it to the dentist. And I was like, are you sure? That's weird. And I was like, no, I could do that. So I did. Now you know how strange I am. Okay, question number 3. What are your least favorite decks you've seen since joining TarotTube? Okay. The cards that annoy or that are my least favorite are the decks that are exclusively Caucasian people. I would much rather have a deck with all of the diversity. I want my decks to have gender diversity. I want my decks to have sexuality diversity. I want my cards to have bodily, like ability diversity. I want my decks to have all the diversity possible, because I want the way I see the world to include all of those bodies. And I feel like it's really hard to find a deck that has all of the diversity. And so my sort of way of going about it is not stressing too much if there is all of the other kinds of diversity, because there's only so many decks that are actually intentionally including all of those different kinds of bodies and presentations and appearances. But I feel like the very least thing people could do, the very least, is to add racial diversity. Literally, all you have to do is color in the people. Literally, all you have to do is use a brown pencil or marker or whatever instead of a pink or peach colored one. That's literally all that needs to happen. Oh, so yeah, I feel like decks that are exclusively white bodies are perpetuating white. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say these words together in YouTube. Maybe they'll like flag me or something. Supremacy that is connected to whiteness. Okay, let's hope I don't get flagged for that. But yeah, I don't want to bring that into my tarot practice. 100% I make exceptions. I have decks that are exclusively Caucasian bodies. Do I think it's okay? No, I don't think it's okay. Do I still own them? Yes. I understand that we live in a complex environment and that requires complex decisions, and I honor all of the inconsistencies that are within me. And I would just be so much happier if this particular kind of supremacy wasn't represented in my decks. If you have more to say about that, you can comment. Just make sure it's generative. Generative critique is what I'm looking for. I don't want hateful stuff. Okay. Question number 4. Oh. Question number 3. That was like my biggest, most, I had the most energy behind that one. So I'm glad I've completed that one. Question number 4. What is one card that has ruined a deck for you? Okay. I have not heard a single person talk about this as a problem, so maybe I'm the only person who sees it as a problem. But I was having a hangout with a neighbor. She wanted to come over and bring her tarot decks and like show off tarot decks to each other, and it was so much fun, and we gave each other tarot readings. She's not a professional or anything like that, but it was still really enjoyable, and it was fun to watch her practice and get some clarity on my experience. Anyways, she brought over the Light Seers Tarot, and I was like, cool, I know this deck is really popular, and I understand why it's really popular because it's beautiful. There's all the diversity that I don't actually know how much diversity because I haven't spent very much time with the deck, but there's at least some diversity in the deck. At the very least, there's racial diversity and sexual diversity, or sorry, gender diversity. And yeah, I understand why it's a cool deck. But I got to the Devil card and I was like, excuse me? The Devil card is simply a dude, a white dude with black hair, looks like it's maybe been dyed, and the unicursal hexagram on his chest. And I don't associate any of those things with the devil. To me, the devil is the sorcerer. I mean, the devil is all sorts of really cool things too to me, like a emphasis on being embodied and a connection to the Dionysian mysteries. Like, there's all sorts of really cool things in the devil card for me. And at its very most basic, to me, the devil card is the sorcerer of the deck. The magician who is doing things because they want it instead of it's for the best of all. And I don't see in any way, shape, or form how Gothic hairdos or the unicursal hexagram have anything to do with that. If anything, I think it is perpetuating problematic social constructs around like Gothic presentation, or what do you call it, like emo presentation. I think it also is like inappropriately labeling, I mean, anyone who's interested in the hexagram. The hexagram has to do with this union between spirit and physical. Like, it's the opposite of sorcery. It's this understanding of all of our parts. And like, depending on how you draw it, it has the mystery of the 5, the mystery of the 6, and the mystery of the 7 all within it. Like, these are really important occult concepts. And they're being demonized because the unicursal hexagram is associated with Crowley? Like, I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to do, but I'm upset by it. If you couldn't tell. I don't appreciate that card. So I didn't buy that deck. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have bought it anyways, but that's beside the point. Question number 5. Which out-of-print deck do you wish was still in print? This 100% is the Babylonian Tarot by Sandra Tabitha Cicero. I love the Ciceros. I love ancient religious studies. Clearly, this deck is meant to be in my collection, but it is out of print, so it's a little bit more complicated. Question number 6. What are some of your TarotTube pet peeves? Okay, I am not interested in anti-haul videos. I wish so much that YouTube would stop putting it in my home feed. Like, they must be popular because YouTube is like, are you sure you don't want to watch this? Are you sure? Are you sure? But I am not interested in anyone being like, I don't like this deck, I'm not going to get it. That's great. Like, I don't need to know about it. Also, anything that's like a sensationalist title that's just like trying to convince me to, like, clickbait. I just abhor clickbait. I see it as like manipulative, and I don't like being manipulated. And so I mean, if it's a catchy title and it's someone I know that I like, I might watch it because I'll like give them the benefit of the doubt because I already know who they are and what kind of content they share. But if I'm like being introduced to a tarot tuber and their titles and things are sensationalists, I just keep going. I'm not interested in being caught like a fish. Question number 7. What are some decks that you feel should have more recognition? Basically every single independently created deck. I mean, I would appreciate if all of the independently created decks were racially diverse. And then in that case, it would be 100% all of the independently created decks. Because I am not a huge, I appreciate mass market decks in the sense that they are more accessible and they are an option for people to get their decks out into the world but not need to go through all of the struggle of like ordering hundreds of decks and then having a room in your house or like a storage container or something for them and then like shipping them out every time someone wants one. I get that. I approve of someone getting support for that, but I feel like tarot decks are supposed to be something that is created by someone who has been studying the tarot. Maybe it's because I've spent the last several years in a Golden Dawn focused lineage lodge. But yeah, I feel like making a tarot deck is like part of one's magical practice. And anyone who's creating a deck solely to sell it or solely to make money, that like goes against what I think tarot decks are for. So I would like all of the independent artists to receive more recognition, because I think that's where it's at. Last question. What are your thoughts on negative reviews? Okay, here's my thought on reviews and whether or not they're negative. I want my reviews to be informative. I don't care if someone else likes the deck or not. I want to know why they don't like it, what part they don't like, what part of that part is uncomfortable, or yeah. I want to know all of the details, because what someone else might not like, I might not have a problem with. So I just want reviewers to be honest and detailed and specific. And if that means that they hate the deck, that's completely fine. And like, maybe do a little bit more research and obtain decks that you think you'll like. But, you know, you do you. Those are my thoughts on negative reviews. Not a whole lot of thoughts. Just, yeah. Okay, so that was the conclusion of the no disclaimers hashtag. I hope you enjoyed my blunt, forthrighted conversations. You are so welcome to include your 2 cents in the comments. Like I've said a bajillion times at this point, please make it generative. Please make it like a chance to have more conversations, as opposed to degrading someone or trying to shut someone down or something like that. That's not what I'm here for. I might delete your comment if that's what it's like, but I am so incredibly here for people sharing their ideas and having an authentic, informative conversation. I think that's so valuable. If you enjoyed this video, you may also enjoy some of my other video responses, and you can find all of those in my video response playlist. There's ones including circular decks, there's a hashtag on the Tree of Life and a tarot deck for each Sephiroth, etc. And if you would like to send me gratitude, book a reading, or follow me on social media, there's a single link with all of those things below. But before you go anywhere, make sure to like this video. Thank you so much. So many blessings.